Welcome to Cool Tools. This is our 52nd edition since this series began way back in 2016, almost a decade ago. And Cool Tools remains among the most popular videos I make because who doesn't love to see what's new and exciting in the woodworking world? So today I've selected 6 things from small businesses that I have known for many years. These are folks I've come to trust because I've used their tools for a very, very long time. I'll link to everything below the video. I'll put it in the description area, and I'll also pin it to the top of the comments section. Now, some of these links will get you big discounts, but only for a limited time. So at least check each of them to see what you might be able to save. Now let's get started. As many of you know, I've been using Milescraft products for at least 15 years. It's a great small company that makes really clever tools that are actually affordable for most woodworkers. And I got this one in particular because I was tired of my old shelf pin jig. Let me show you why. Most of these jigs use these little spring-loaded bits. It seems like a good idea, but there's only a little nub on the end of the bit that goes into the indexing hole on the plate. And as you push against the spring to bore a hole, it's easy for that nub to lift out, which allows the drill to tip slightly, and that creates a hole that doesn't hold the pin properly. You can absolutely wreck a project like that. I have. The Milescraft jig solves that problem in the simplest of ways. It ditches the spring-loaded bit and instead puts hardened steel bushings on the jig plate. This provides more support for the bit so you can bore hole after hole after hole after hole without screwing things up. It's just a better design in my opinion. In fact, the whole jig is really well thought out. The fence is reversible, so you can switch between 37mm and 64mm between the holes in the edge. Having both options makes it compatible with pretty much any cabinet hardware out there. And if you remove the fence completely, you can use it anywhere you want, even inside existing cabinets. Don't let its small size fool you. You can extend the holes as far as you need using the indexing pin. Another thing I like about Milescraft is they always give you everything you need to do the job. Here we have both 1/4 inch and 5mm drill bits, as well as indexing pins and a stop collar. Everything but the power drill, and it all goes right inside the fence so you're not going to lose anything. This is one of those things you'll be really glad you have when you're in the middle of a project, so you might want to think of snagging one now. I'll put a link below this video. I discovered wood taps about a decade ago, and I was initially skeptical, but over time I've become a believer. These things are super handy in so many situations. Knockdown furniture, for example, like tables and bed frames, certain hardware, like handles and knobs, or jigs that have movable parts. Pretty much anywhere you would use one of those threaded inserts, you can use a tap instead and just put the threads in the wood itself. But why would you want to do that? Well, believe it or not, tapped threads seem to hold better than the inserts. We can speculate on why, but I think there are a lot of reasons, including how short the insert is. There just aren't many threads along its body. Whereas if you cut the threads right in the wood, you can often go deeper and bring many more threads to bear on the wood. It's also far easier, in my opinion, to run a tap into the wood than it is to install one of those threaded inserts straight. That can be a frustrating process. And finally, threaded inserts aren't cheap, while taps are a relatively inexpensive one-time purchase that lasts forever. Now, why do I like these taps in particular? Well, it's because they're specifically designed to be used in wood. The thread geometry is slightly different than a regular metal tap. This provides just a tiny bit more room for standard bolt threads to account for the natural movement of the wood. They're also designed to cut much quicker, something you simply can't do with metal. And they have hex ends for use in power drills. They come in a set with 5 common sizes: 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8, 1/2, and number 10. And as I said, they aren't very expensive at all, but they have loads of uses. Grab a set. I guarantee you're going to find yourself reaching for these way more often than you think. I'll put a link below the video. Sometime back I showed you the jig that I use to rip accurate and repeatable thin strips on a table saw. Now that original version is simple and effective, but recently I found a digital version of the same jig, and I think it offers a distinct advantage. While the old one has a scale on the body, it's not that useful because it's not adjustable. But with the digital scale, I can touch the end of the jig on the side of my saw blade's tooth and zero out the display. Just like that, it's customized for this saw and this blade. Now I can use the digital readout to set any strip width I want. To cut, I slide my rip fence until the workpiece touches the jig, lock the fence down, and I rip my strip. Not only is it safer because the strip can't get caught between the blade and the fence, it's also repeatable because the jig becomes a positive stop. Every strip comes out exactly the same. I can even take the jig off the saw and use the saw for other things, and then later I can dial it right back in to cut the exact same strips with the same accuracy. This is so much easier with a digital scale with a resolution down to the thousandth of an inch than it is by looking at the marks on an analog scale. The jig itself is of the same high-quality anodized aluminum with a roller bearing on the end for smooth operation. And the digital readout has modes for decimals, fractions, and metric. If you bought the last one, I'm not saying you need to run out and get this digital version, but if you didn't get one yet, this might be the one to get. It'll make your work safer and more accurate. I'll link to it below the video. Black Friday 2025 is coming up and everyone is looking for the best deals. So I reached out to some folks that I know and I found a couple of big discounts that you can get right now, well ahead of the official start of shopping season. The first one is from IsoTunes. They're the makers of the Bluetooth hearing protection I've been using forever. I think I got my first set in 2016, 2017. Now, if you're new here, IsoTunes is a small business in Indiana that is just really worth supporting. And right now you can get anything on their site for 30% off with my link below this video, but just for a limited time, and you have to use that link. So give it a look today. Now, if you're wondering which ones to get, my personal favorites are the Free 2.0, which have no wires at all, and the super cushy Air Defenders with their even comfier gel ear cushion upgrade. But they have lots of other models to choose from, so stop putting it off and get your ears protected. I also found a fantastic deal on mPower's amazing CRB7 router system. This is the base that completely transforms your router. It'll cut circles, dados, grooves, mortises, you name it. Everyone I know that has tried this thing loves it. I've had mine since 2016, so I speak from about a decade of experience when I say it is the best aftermarket router base I have ever used, hands down. And right now you can get about $25 off the basic kit and $50 off the full kit. Those are serious discounts when you use my link below this video. mPower is another small business worth supporting. You'll find their story on their website. It's worth a read. This is another cool tool that's recently gotten a big upgrade, and I think you're going to want to see the new version. A couple months ago, I showed you Trend's compact router table, which is loaded with full-size features in a compact, easy-to-store package. After that video, Trend got a hold of me and asked if I'd like to try that table's big brother. And since the little guy impressed me so much, I thought, why not? So this is Trend's full-size router table. It has all the same features, it's just larger. For example, the top is significantly roomier at 24 by 32 instead of 24 by 16. While you can absolutely get by with the smaller work surface, I definitely prefer a larger one. It is melamine covering an MDF core instead of solid phenolic, but frankly, the last phenolic router table I had sagged, and this one's flat even with a heavier router hanging on it. It comes with a heavy-duty fence made from thick aluminum stock. This isn't a cheap accessory by any means. It has adjustable faces and spacer rods that can be used to turn the fence into an edge jointer for gluing up panels. No flip stops were included, but there is a T-track for aftermarket or homemade stops. The high-quality aluminum router plate is a really nice touch too. It can be adapted to whatever router you already have, but I'm using Trend's big T8 plunge router, which is ideally suited to this table because it has an integrated lift mechanism, which allows the depth of cut to be adjusted from above the table with a crank. It's like having an expensive aftermarket router lift built right in. But if you don't have a T8 router, you can attach most any fixed base or plunge router to the plate by drilling some holes, or you can drop in a router lift down the road. As for dust collection, it has it where it counts, with a port on the fence that fits a standard shop vac hose. And it comes with a set of graduated inserts to close up the throat around the bit. Of course, this version includes a large floor stand, making it about 36 inches tall, depending on how you adjust the feet. I like that it's made from steel tubes instead of angle stock. That makes it more stable, but I'd still recommend adding a back panel to really stiffen things up. In fact, I'd box the router right in, maybe add a drawer at the bottom and attach a 4-inch dust collection hose to the side. I'd also recommend adding a power switch on the front so you don't have to reach under the router to turn it on and off. Those are relatively easy upgrades that would really trick this thing out. Overall, I'd say it's a decent router table at a pretty competitive price. I'd still recommend the compact version if you need portability, but for a permanent setup that's going to stay in one place, this one has a lot of potential. And for the next week, they're giving a $75 discount on it. I'll link to it below if you'd like to check it out. Before we go, I want to mention that we have some new stickers available on our website. They come in a 3-pack, and they feature the updated bearded Stumpy logo, plus the throwback logo, and a new Stumpy Nubs University logo that hints at what's to come in 2026. This is the first time I've had stickers on the website, and I only have so many of these, so grab them before they're gone. We'll have 2 more Cool Tools episodes in December, so see you then. Ridge Carbide is the best kept secret in woodworking. I kid you not, their saw blades are second to none, both in quality and performance, and they're less expensive than the other ultra premium brands. Do yourself a favor, use the link and the discount code below this video. You will never go back to cheap blades again.